Hello. So, game 3. It is the scavengers. So we are looking for loot, which is always cool.
Yeah.
I won the last game, but James's first loss. So he's still on 4 Promethium. I'm on 1, but you're going to spend 1 to recruit a Grey Knight's Terminator. Obviously,
it doesn't actually look like a Grey Knight's Terminator.
No, what we're using is James's librarian from his Dark Angels army, which is, in my opinion, pretty decently painted. Also his, but he's being humble. So obviously, if I can get some more pictures of this guy, we will. But he's a decent stand-in. We can see he's a Terminator. Hopefully, you guys won't be offended.
We'll have a Demon Hammer and Stormbolter.
Yes.
Sooner.
Yeah, as James said, Demon Hammer, Stormbolter as standard. So it'll be a bit of a tank to take down, quite a challenge, a little bit scared. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to crack on. Thank you very much. So here is the Grey Knight, massive shakes.
Dirty Grey Knight.
The Dirty Grey Knights. Nothing's changed really, apart from a couple of new skills from last time, and obviously our stand-in Terminator with a Demon Hammer, which looks strangely like a Force Staff, and is Stormbolter, which you can clearly see, but I think he'll stand in pretty well. So my team are laying down on the job. I'm going to have 6 Slugger Chopper Boys, Noble with Power Claw Slugger, as before. 4 Shooter Boys, because one of the Shooter Boys is sitting out. He got taken out. He's going to be back next game though. And obviously, good old Rough Nut with the missile launcher and red dot. Cool. So at the end of deployment, James actually went first, but I'm over here. So this is one team: a shooter youth, 2 shooter youths, slugger, chopper, buzz chopper. I won't go into it too much. You can pretty much see, providing you can, who's in what squad. I'll actually tell you that there's a rocket launcher hidden away in the shade there. You can't really see him. Shooter boy, and then we've got the team over here, just here. So that's the orc deployment. So James's deployment, we've got, is it your leader here?
Yeah, just a card Jim.
Just a card Jim. We have got Warding Stave Dave.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cool. We've got Tommy Gunner.
Yeah.
New recruit Brute. Brute. And we've got the Terminator.
Terminator Tyrone, maybe?
Terminator Tyrone. That's what he's called.
Yeah.
Tyrone. And that's the end of deployment. So we've got Just a Car Jim near the building. Walked up. We've got Warding Stave Dave walking towards Promethium. We've got Tommy Gunner ran towards the ladder. We've got Tyrone. Had a run. Got a runner. And then we've got a walker of the new recruit Brute. He ran?
8 inch.
Sorry, he ran. So we're going to pop one of these bad boys right near him. -1 to hit. Cool, thank you very much. So, after the movement phase, that's pretty much it, because no one else can shoot, because everyone is out of range. Everyone's sticking where they are, and it's now the orcs movement phase, and all the rest of it. Action. Cool. So, at the end of the movement phase for the Grey Knights, Just Card Jim has decided to walk up and get hidden on the corner. We also have, is it Dwight?
New recruit Brute.
New recruit Brute. He has moved up, and he's ran up actually, and he's got hold of one of the loot counters. We have Dwight ran up to the ramp, and we have Tyrone over here, also sitting on a loot counter, and then we've got Tommy Gunner, Earthquake, who's sitting about here. Obviously, we can't physically keep him there. So, moving on to Grey Knights, the remainder of their turn. So, at the end of the Grey Knights shooting phase, even though Tommy Gunner ran, he's just got a special skill where he can run -1 to hit. He shot over here and didn't hit. We also had Tyrone. He shot at these guys and he hit the youth on a 5, miraculously. But he's just pinned, he's not dead. So we're now going to be moving into Orcs turn 2. So, at the end of my turn, these guys all ran up towards this objective. These guys all ran up towards that objective, being wary of Tyrone. These guys ran up, and we've got one youth who has secured the objective, and he ran 1 inch backwards. And we've got the rest of the team there, apart from this guy who's still not stood up yet. So we're going to be moving on to Dirty Grey Knights turn 3. So at the end of the Dirty Grey Knights movement phase, we've got Tyrone over here. He walked up. We've got the other guy, I can never remember his name. He decided to walk that way. We've got Tommy Gunner running for a brutal shooting position. We also had Justicar Jim. He decided to run up, and we also had a walk up from the guy with the warding stave who's still got the objective. So we'll be moving into the possibly brutal Dirty Grey Knight shooting phase. So at the end of the Grey Knights shooting phase and full turn, basically, you run up here, didn't do much. This guy moved here, tried to shoot at my youth, didn't do nothing. Didn't do something, I mean. He moved, didn't really do nothing because he can't reach. And this guy shot at my boys, didn't do nothing. Tommy Gunner, however, decided to take out two downed fighters in this turn, which is not good. He nearly took out my knob, so be careful with that one. So it's now moving into Orcs turn 4? 3? My turn 3, yes. So turn 3 for the Orcs. So, at the end of the Orc movement phase, the youth moved 4 inches and moved another 4 inches back to his original position, keeping the objective. Running for home, we've got these guys all ran up towards Justicar Jim. It's going to get brutal. This guy ran up from here. He ran there into the middle. Pretty much perfect shooting range for this guy. We also had, again, similar affair with the youth. He's run back to his original position with the loot counter. Rocket launcher guy is going to try and take out. He's brave. He's going to try and take the Tyrone on, and so is this youth, this foolhardy youth, and the guy with the bus chopper has ran. So, and the Orc Knob, the leader, has decided to run up here. He's actually stood here, so he's going to get -1 to his dice rolls against Tommy Gunner. So we'll see how that turns out after the Orc shooting phase. In the shooting phase, the youth got 2 shots at the Terminator, did nothing. At the rocket launcher, the spanner did what he was meant to do. He hit the Terminator, failed his save, and he is now down, but not out. So we'll see how that turns out. We're moving on to the close combat with the Orc Knob and the Tommy Gunner. Cool. So at the end of the combat, the Knob won, even though he did get disarmed by Tommy Gunner. He still came through. And at the end of the recovery phase, one of our boys was taken out of action, and the other guy is just still down. So he's just doing nothing. So we're going to move on to, is it this time? Turn 4? Turn 4 for the Dirty Grey Knights. So at the end of the movement phase for the Dirty Grey Knights, this guy moved from here to here. This guy seems to be running around the container just for fun. He's moved up towards this way. The Tyrone is crawling as he's down 2 inches that way, and towards the end with the loot counter. And that was it, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, that's about it.
Cool. So we're going to go on to shooting phase. So at the end of the Grey Knights full turn, including shooting, Justicar Jim shot at these guys, sustained fire. He downed this guy, pinned this guy, and this guy decided to run because he was panicked. So he's now behind cover and is pretty much useless for now. This guy shot and killed this dude, or one or the other. Yeah. And then the guy all the way over here, who's not done much apart from run around a container, decided to pin this youth with the objective marker. So that's pretty much the end of turn 4 for the Grey Knights. We'll be moving on to turn 5 for the Orcs. So, this is the start of my Orc turn, but because I've taken at least 3 guys and one who's down, basically I have to now take my break test. So I'm doing this on a 9 because I'm double Grey Knights. and he makes it, which is a 9, so equal to or lower, which is just right. Cool. So we're moving on to the orc movement phase. At the end of the recovery phase, which I should have done slightly earlier, we lost another 3 guys, so there's now the objective up for grabs over here. The objective up for grabs right next to my orc knob, who's going to steal it on his way down, possibly. But that was a brutal 3 dead orcs. Dead. So, at the end of the orc shooting phase, that orc spanner decided to shoot at this guy and missed horribly. He's now left out in the open, ready for some shooting. Cool. We're on 10-5, which is a first for the channel. 10-5 for the Grey Knights. Just Jim did not move. He stood right there in front of the orc.
Shooting this.
This guy, warding stave guy, moved 4 inches, so he's now within the deployment zone. We had the shuffle, like an iPod from Tyrone, and this guy moved up so he can get another decent shot at the spanner boy. So we're going to go into the Grey Knights shooting phase, and we'll fill in at the end of the turn. So the end of the Grey Knights turn, just Jim shot and downed this fighter. He shot, he's still down. We got this guy who shot at the spanner boy and downed him. And then we had a recovery phase, which he's still down, which is always cool. So we're at orcs 10-6. Again, still another first. So I'm having to take another bottle test for the orcs. So I'm going to be trying to get an 8 or less. And I'll re-roll that one. I got 7. Dastardly, as James just said. So, going into orcs 10-6. At the end of the orc movement phase, shooter youth with the objective ran over here. The knob with the 2 objectives ran over here, so it's close to the board edge. The slugger chopper boy over there charged at the downed Tyrone and killed him. Shooter youth has moved up so you can take a pot shot at him. He crawled 2 inches this way towards the edge, and this guy did nothing because he's a coward, and he also moved 2 inches and crawled 2 inches away. Cool. So we're now moving on to the shooting phase. So at the end of my turn, shooter youth did nothing. He shot at this guy and did absolutely nothing, and the spanner boy took his 2nd flesh wound, which means he's back up now for the next turn. So we're now on to Grey Knights 10-7. However, he'll be taking a bottle test, which will probably go well for him. We'll see. So, at the end of the bottle test, James got over a 9, so that means the Dirty Grey Knights have now lost. We're going to do a simplified version, so we're just going to do the paperwork, and then I'll do a recap at the end of it and see what's happened. Cool, so join us soon. So, this is a really quick update on the game and how it turned out. So, as it turned out, the Grey Knights failed their bottle test, and I won. Because I killed his Terminator against the odds, I got an additional Promethium. Rolled all the d6, I ended up getting 1 of the Promethium loots, so I ended up with 2 Promethium, leave me on 3. We was a bit unsure, so we just let James have 1, because I think you get 1 anyway for turning up, I think. So, James on 1, he has recruited another gunner, because he banked some points, but they're all gone now. Which we'll probably go into at the start of the next game. I had a lot of down fighters, but they all got back up again. They get knocked down, but they get back up again. Never going to keep them down. What else? So, James upgraded his, or gave the Tommy Gunner another skill, which gives him basically a 4+ invulnerable save, which I don't need him to have. Is slowly getting mental, just crazy skills. My Orc Knob, he has actually got +1 to his weapon skill, which is good. Which means I'm going to be adding 5 to an already awesome amount of dice, basically. So that was good. So the next game we haven't rolled for. We'll roll for possibly at the start of the next one, maybe middle of the week or whatever. But we'll tell you what it is at the start of the next game. So another orc win. So as it stands, I think James is on 4 Prometheum, I think, and I'm on 2. So we're not quite decided on how long this campaign's going, whether we're going to 5, 6, 8 or whatever, but we'll let you know at the start of the next game. So again, thank you very much for watching, and from me it's bye, and James says it's bye from him too. So thank you very much.